Hi, this is Miss Basinger. I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about Beast Academy. Beast Academy is something that's going to be offered in fifth grade at Susan Lindgren as an extension and a challenge for students. It is open to anybody who's interested in taking on the challenge. Um, this curriculum is a little bit different. You'll see in a moment that the way it's delivered is kind of in a comic book form. So it's a lot of kids really like that format and they're interested in reading it. It gives quite a few really good examples. Typically, you get some practice with kind of regular level questions, but then they usually kind of push you to ask higher level questions or ones that are a little bit more challenging. And I'll tell you about those and how you can get a little help with that too. The most important piece about this is if you're going to participate in Beast Academy, you have to take the responsibility. That is the one criteria that is absolutely required. And I'll show you that sheet here. It comes down to the student log. If you are going to participate and use Beast Academy as part of your homework, you need to keep track of the day of the week, the date, the guidebook pages that you read, the problems that you worked on, the number of minutes that you worked. That really helps us know, was it super easy? Was something we thought that should have taken just a little bit of time? If it took a lot of time, we want to give you credit for that too. Okay? Next is any questions that you might have, because we'll be coming together as a group, or you might have opportunities to ask or work with another student and just say, gosh, I was stuck on number 29. You know, what did you do, or how did you work that problem? So it really keeps track every day of what you're doing and how you're completing your work. Okay, so you're going to start out, I talked about the guidebook, and I talked about it being in a comic book format. So last year at the end of the year, you probably did some things with multiplication. This is actually kind of a review unit of multiplication from Beast Academy 4. However, don't let that fool you, because as I was reading through, you would use your typical way that you would read a book. This is the first page. I put kind of like I opened the book up. You're going to be reading down and across as you're reading, and then up to the other side and reading left to right all the way through. The one thing that I really enjoy about Beast Academy is they give a lot of good examples. So like halfway through, they might ask you to answer a question like, what do you think comes next? But they do a great job of explaining and showing why. And if there's more than one way to do something, they show you how to do it 2 different ways. So sometimes there's a box at the bottom, a box within the box. This one says digits for each place value should line up. So they give you like little hints within a box. Then towards the end of one section, first of all, anytime there's a stop sign, that's a stop. They want you to think. This one says, can you guess what comes next? So they're trying to engage your thinking there. Eventually you get to the rectangle that says practice pages. That means you're going to stop reading the guidebook and shift over to the practice pages. You'll notice right here they give pages of the guidebook that you'd read, and then how many pages you should read, and then how many when you should start looking and doing practice problems. So the way I have it set up online for our classes is it'll be the guidebook and then the practice following it. But in case that gets a little mixed up, you'll always have it here. What I like about the practice problems is they always give examples. They explain it, they give you an example of what's going to come right below it. So if you start looking down here and going, I don't get it, I can't tell you how many times that's happened. I'm going to say, did you look just above it to see where they explained and gave an example? Okay, so pretty much anytime you need it, it's going to be right above it or maybe a couple pages ahead. Another thing to point out is if there's anything in bold letters, this one says distributive property. It is a vocabulary word that you have to know. So when you see those in there, make sure that you understand what it means because you're going to have to use it all the way through. You'll notice down on the bottom, they'll also give you the guidebook pages that go along with it. So if for some reason you can't figure it out from the example, you go back to this guide page, these guide pages, and you can look at how they taught it. So it should help you along. Again, I'm just flipping the page. A different example for the different type of problems below. Again, the conversations are very important, so pay attention to those in this practice book. You'll notice down here that there is a starred number. And you're not necessarily expected to do those alone, but they help you in that towards the end of that practice page, or at the end of the unit, they have hints. So I would go and find the right chapter and the same number, and it'll give you like a 1 or 2 sentence hint that should help you complete the problem. Once you've completed the problems in that section, so I've read through what my guidebook says, I've done those practice pages, I'm then going to ask somebody, perhaps somebody at home or somebody at school, to correct my answers. There is a solution page. Now, what I like about the solution page is it's not just the answer, because that doesn't help me if I get the answer, if I have the incorrect answer. So if I get it incorrect, I want to go back in and read and look at how they did it, because that's where that additional really true learning comes in, and you're going to have those aha moments where you go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember, okay, that makes sense. So it's going to be very important that you take each of those steps and follow through, be responsible. And that is the only way you're going to be able to do the Beast Academy. As I said, it is open to anyone who is interested in working through it and doing the problems. But in order to do that as part of your classroom work, we'll talk to your teachers about that, and they can give you a few more hints about each of those. You need to make sure that it is recorded, okay? So some of these units, for example, the first one you're going to be doing is multiplication. It might go super fast. We might have more kids in it. Maybe the next unit that we do, you're not as sure about. And so maybe you go back and you only do your math expressions on that one. What's really nice about Beast Academy is that you can kind of flow back and forth depending on the unit. Like sometimes there's certain skills that I might need to brush up on and kind of like, oh, I remember it last year, but I really don't know it that well. So I'm going to work really closely with the teacher and follow through on using their support. And then there's times where you're going to say, I think I know that pretty well. I really want to take this challenge to do something a little bit more challenging in math. And again, you'd use the guidebook. That's followed by the practice pages. If I get stuck when I'm doing the problems, I can look at the hints pages. When I'm done, I'm going to have somebody correct it. I will also be meeting with people once a week to answer any of your questions. That's why it's going to be vital that you put down the pages and the number of the question that you're working on. That kind of just has you stumped. Again, with me, I need to know these. If you know everything already, I can't teach you anything. And our jobs are to teach, not just occupy your time. So that's where you're going to have that opportunity to just say, I'm not sure. Could you say that in a different way? Could you give me a different example? And that's how I can support you. So that is our Beast Academy.